Welcome back, everyone. This is Thomas Triple T Toy with another new bullish crypto analysis. Before we dig in, remember this is for edutainment only and not to be considered as financial advice. Additionally, I would appreciate it if you could help spread my analysis to others, especially new people or people who are learning about investing, because it's the analysis are pretty simple to understand and lack of acronyms and jargons. With that, remember to smash the like, ring my bell, hit subscribe if you haven't, and share your thoughts. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. And let's dig in to take a look at the market, crypto market, equities market, and news around the world that could impact the global economy and our local markets. Let's dive in. And we got our fancy little slides here. Thank you for the feedback for those of you who shared, and it's taking me more time to clip out some of these news items and present them in a way that's more interesting for you. So here we go. We'll start off with the U.S. markets. Twitter, under shareholder pressure, begins to deal with Elon Musk over the weekend, especially on Sunday. It looks like they're potentially caving in to his tender offer of $43 billion to fully acquire Twitter. So that looks like it's going forward. My only wish for this whole situation is for Elon to get rid of the spam bots on Twitter. It is so annoying, and I just can't believe they're not able to get rid of it. Unbelievable. So looking forward to it. Let's get to the next one. Let me see if my space bar works for this. Ooh, no, it worked too well. Okay, there we go. I should give credit to the news agency that did that article. That was from Reuters. Sorry, Reuters. This one's from Fortune. They did an article about a potential housing bubble. They're saying that we're skating to one. As a quote from Realtor.com economist. And this really is about not the current homeowners, but it's about the upcoming homeowners. And that's because this chart here, where's my mouse? There we go. This chart here is an indicator that could potentially predict the housing market crash. And if you look here back in 2006, 2007, right here, 2008 was when we had the financial market crash, especially the housing market crash, real estate. So you notice this mortgage payment to income ratio. You notice how it peaked up here above 30%. Guess what? We're above 30%. We're at 31% right now. And so that is sounding some alarms for economists, because if you take the mortgage payments and you divide it by a person's income, if that ratio is high, the numerator, which is the mortgage payment, if that's high, that means that that person, it's costing them more on their overall income to pay for the houses. And that's because mortgage rates are going up and inventory is low. And if people have to feel like they have to pay higher interest rate, that eats into their income, and that could cause them financial pains. And maybe later on they can't pay for their mortgages, and they're upside down, and it causes a lot of problems. So that could potentially cause a crash. Not the current homeowners, the future ones, the incoming ones. According to Grayscale, this article is from Ben B in Crypto, and Grayscale's lawyer say a lawsuit against the SEC could be possible if ETF application is rejected. And I've talked about this in the past. They're basing this on I can't pronounce that word. Teucrium ETF application to CRIM. That's it, to CRIM application that was filed, that was approved, and it was filed. So that they to CRIM got approved for futures Bitcoin ETF under the Securities Act of 1933. However, that's different than the other filings for future ETFs, which is under the totally different act. And so Grayscale is using that opportunity, and rightfully so, to say, hey, you know what? If we file under this act, there's really no difference. And so look out for a potential lawsuit here if the SEC doesn't approve their application. It's ridiculous. That's weird. Let's go to China. Beijing race to contain urgent. So this is Beijing, not Shanghai. I've been talking a lot about Shanghai and their lockdowns and crazy stuff happening over there. But this is Beijing now. So they're racing to contain an outbreak. And they're kicking off their first of 3 rounds of mass testing. And what this came about was that there was an announcement of 11 cases were detected in a 24-hour period. So people started panic buying in the district, and so they're the fear is real when they look around and see what's happening in Shanghai and other parts of China with all the strict lockdowns. So it's creating panic over there, and Beijing is another big major city like Shanghai. So why is this important? Well, import, export, financials, China's economy tied to the rest of the world's economy. So yeah, it's a big deal. So I hope this works out well for them. I wonder if this. Such strict measure. I'm all for getting rid of COVID, all for testing, all for that stuff. But I'm just wondering if this kind of draconian type of regulation really helps get rid of something that is a part of nature, So it's just curious to see how different countries handle the COVID situation and how their people are responding. Oh, speaking of Shanghai, Shanghai started putting up green fences. These fences, about 2 meters tall, around buildings and areas where they don't want people to get out. In other words, they're jailing people from the outside in. People, suddenly saw these fences come up and people in white hazmat suits installing these 2 meter high fences or railings, if you want to call them, just to keep people locked inside the compounds. I can't wait for this to be over. Ukraine bans Bitcoin purchases with local currency amid martial law, and the reason that they're doing this is because when you sell, let's say you use their currency is this hryvnia. So if people sell hryvnia to buy Bitcoin, for example, when you sell an asset, that price of that asset depreciates. All right. When you buy an asset, the price of that asset increase. So if people are trading in Bitcoin hryvnia for Bitcoin, their currency is going to drop. So I understand they're in the middle of a war and all that stuff, and they got to protect hryvnia. Totally understand. But here's the thing. So much crypto went to Ukraine. Millions of dollars went to Ukraine to help them fight the war. And so I have mixed feelings about this. Now their restriction is to allow people to buy Bitcoin with other cryptocurrencies with foreign currencies. So if you use the dollar or you use the euro to buy crypto, that depreciates the value of those things, but not hryvnia. So, and they limit to a monthly purchase of roughly around $3,300. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Sweden, Finland, reportedly, this article right here is according to USA Today. Sweden, Finland reportedly applied to NATO, and Britain estimates that 15,000 Russians have been killed. And but here's the thing: they didn't need to be killed. They invaded another country. And what's interesting about this whole situation is ridiculous, evil situations. Putin managed to do what he feared most, which is expanding NATO and uniting NATO. Someone miscalculated on. Emmanuel Macron wins France presidential election, according to CNN News here. Macron took 58.5% of the vote. So these two were the top candidates for their parties. And so they did a runoff over the weekend. People voted. Macron came in at 58.5% of Sunday's vote. And he's the first French president to be reelected in 20 years. What's interesting about this and how it could impact the economy is that Le Pen, her presidency would have fundamentally changed France's relationship with the European Union and the West, because she wanted to take France out of the European Union. She's a huge fan of Vladimir Putin, who's killing people and burying them in mass graves in Ukraine, and putting people in concentration camps or taking them back to Russia. She's a fan of that dude. Think about that for a second. And France is the second largest economy in the European Union. Imagine her as president. Shocking that that people actually, yeah. Okay. According to Reuters, Indonesia's palm oil export ban leaves global buyers with no plan B. What is interesting about this story is that this ultimately just increased the price of oil, edible oil, like vegetable oil and such, because they have a shortage, and they're the biggest palm oil producer in the world. And so if they have a shortage and they limit or ban export of the product that the rest of the world depend on, that's going to drive prices up for all major edible oils, including palm oil, soy oil, sunflower oil, and rape. Is that grapeseed? It said rapeseed. Wow. This article said rapeseed. I think they meant grapeseed oil. So that's going to drive prices up. It's going to impact emerging markets and a lot of people who cook with a lot of oil. So, yeah, more momentum for higher inflation. This just doesn't seem to be an end to inflation around the world. According to Crypto Globe, a new report claims that 3.6 million Americans will be using crypto in 2022 to pay for purchases. And that's to pay for purchases. So that's interesting. They expect that's an increase of about 70% for 2022. And they said that with 10.7% of all crypto owners in the U.S. expect to use their digital assets for payments. I think using digital asset for payment is fantastic, and to each their own. However, if you use an appreciating asset to pay for a depreciating good or asset, that doesn't make sense to me. So take Bitcoin, for example. The person who bought their 4 pizzas back in the day for I don't know how many Bitcoins, but those Bitcoins cost like millions of dollars. Just be thoughtful about what you use. And I think stable coins are fantastic to use for transactions, though. The state of New York. New York's interesting. New York's really interesting when it comes to crypto. So, according to the Bitcoinist, the New York State Assembly will soon vote on a bill which will that will create a memorandum. No, that's not it. Moratorium of proof of work mining operations. So they're basically saying they want to ban proof of work blockchains like Bitcoin, unless their mining operations is 100%. 100% of their energy comes from renewable resources. You know what's interesting about this? Is that they don't have this for any other industry. Like, did you hear anything about, like, so the banking industry alone uses more energy than Bitcoin. Okay? So, do you hear anybody talking about, hey, banking industry, we're going to ban you unless all the electricity you use is from renewable resources? Huh? What? But there are there are groups fighting against this, but it could be the New York could be the new China when it comes to banning crypto mining and such. It's so ridiculous. Speaking of New York Senator Thomas proposes to criminalize rug pulls and other crypto frauds, according to Coin Telegraph. This is good. I mean, this is what they should spend their efforts on, like fighting criminals and protecting citizens and protecting investors and educating investors, you know? So I'm all for this. The only caveat to this is be really careful with these proposals. You know why? Because politicians and their special interest groups somehow usually manage to sneak in something that just hurts the crypto industry or hurt ordinary citizens and protect the special interest groups and their of big, large corporations. So good move, but be really careful. Macro guru Raul Pal warned stock market may trigger crypto market crash. Here's his timeline. I've been talking about the reason I do these daily, weekday market analysis because there is a correlation, and so I'm totally in with the Raul. Here's the chart that he showed. This is Nasdaq, I believe. So basically, here's this. We got this big support here, and Nasdaq's coming, dropping down. It's drawing down here, and if it breaks this this level right here, sure, there is a correlation with Bitcoin and the crypto market. Yeah, if it drops below, it'll pull a crypto with it. It's already pulling crypto with it. So yeah, and that's the end of the market news. So let's dive into the charts and take a look at where we are. Let's start off with the crypto heat map here. We got a bit of recovery. This was blood red all day yesterday. And we got Bitcoin pulling back up after dropping to the low 38Ks. Dominance 41. Now it's at 39.6K. And dominance 41.25. This now, when I say now, is when I took the snapshot of this chart. Ethereum just almost back to around 3K, 2.9K here. Dominance 19.32. Luna's back in the green. A couple other green ones here. It's a mix today, so a bit of recovery. Let's take a look at the cryptocurrency market cap. We can see here that it's up over the 24-hour period, $1.83 trillion. But remember, this one, the magic number here is 2 trillion. That's what we want to look at. So it's been below that, and it was like in the it was at 1.87, 1.86, and slowly dropped down and to 1.82, and now it's got a bit of recovery, plus 0.12% day over day. Excuse me. Here you can see Bitcoin here. I also mentioned on my Twitter that something interesting happened that I've been that I've been talking about is Terra Luna. I mentioned that Terra Luna was right behind Solana, and today on CoinMarketCap, it flipped Solana to number 6, taking over Solana spot. Pretty interesting. You know why? Solana, look at its market, look at its price changes in the last 24 hours, 7-day, and 30-day. It's in the red, but while Solana, it's in the green all the way up to 90-day. So no surprise there. Pretty cool. Let's dig into the TradingView chart here, and this is a 30-minute time frame, 7-day, about 7-day range in each column. We got the U.S. markets here, European market here with Stochx 600, and then we got the Australian and Asian markets over here on the right. And let's go through the watch list and see. So we got Nasdaq, SPX. Nasdaq's up 0.45, and SPX is down 0.26. DJI, Dow Jones Industrial Average, is up a tiny bit, 0.06. Volatility index here, though, earlier this morning, it was over 30. It's now dropped below 30 at 29.8. And that's 5.6% up. And you don't want a volatility index high. Like at a 30 and above, that's not good. It was last week was in the low 20s and below 20s, below 20. So, yeah, increased volatility here. Dixie, DXDY here, at 101.7, up 0.63 from the last period. U.S. 10-year yield 2.816, and that's down around 3 point. U.S. oil down below 100 again. That's good. 98.5, down 3% roughly. Gold is down 1.58% at 18.99 here. Silver at 23.66, down 1.83. Keeps jumping here. As far as the currencies here, we got euro losing to the dollar. It's down 0.78. Let me verify that. I can't see. Yeah, euro's losing to the dollar, roughly 0.78. The pound's losing to the dollar at roughly 0.73. The dollar's losing to the yen. And that's down 0.4 roughly. Let me see. Yeah, roughly 0.41. So a little bit mixed there. So let's go over to the charts and see the trends. So here's Bitcoin. You can see it dropping since 421 here. Drop down here. Reached the very bottom here, roughly around low 38s here, and just before the market opened, and then moved up as the market opened. So it's moving up to its resistance level here at roughly 39.6. Was support, now resistance. And let's take a look at the Nasdaq index here. Market open below, it's below the previous session, and then it's been choppy up and down slightly from where it opened, and that's why you see the positive, slight positive over here in the watch list. And the S&P 500, similar situation, opened below its last trading period, and then choppy, somewhat. It went up and then went down, and then the Dow Industrial Average, same thing, opened down lower than the previous session, went up, and it's slightly up above where it opened. So that's why. So all three look very similar as far as positive correlation with Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is moving up, and so the Nasdaq and S&P 500, they're one of them is Nasdaq is slightly up, but SPX not. So some positive correlations is in place. Let's look at the DXDY. I'm sorry, the Dixie DXY, and Dixie opened before the market opened. It was trending up, and then it was choppy most for the past handful of hours here, And so as far as positive correlation with Bitcoin, I mean negative correlation with Bitcoin, it's not quite there. You can see that right here. Before hours before market open, Bitcoin went up. Dixie also went up, but it's kind of choppy too. So it's not quite there for the negative correlation. Now let's take a look at the U.S. 10-year yield here. Opened down and hours before. Let's see. This is about 4:24 at roughly 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So since then, yesterday, Sunday, U.S. time, it was trending down, and the market open. It's coming back slightly up. So, and when rates drop, that's opposite of price. So, if rates drop, price went up for the U.S. 10-year yield. Okay, let's go over to the European Union here. Let's take a look at UK 100 index. Opened down below its last session, and it's overall trending down. Like if you look at a long 7-day trend, but it's kind of choppy right now. And DAX, the DAX from Germany, opened down and then choppy slightly down. The CAC from France, similar to the DAX here, opened down and choppy slightly down. Stock 600, similar situation, opened down, chop, slightly down. Let's go over to Australia. Australia looks like they're taking a break. The market's not open, or this is not updated, or something. Nikkei 225 opened down from the previous session, chop, sideways. Overall trend, recent downtrend here. KOSPI, similar situation, opened down, chop, downward. Hang Seng HSI from Hong Kong opened down, chopping down, and you can see overall trend is a downward trend, not even a peak in the middle, just down. Same thing with CSI 300 from Shanghai. This is similar to HSI, just trending down and open and down. So it looks like the European, Australian, and Asian markets are trending down, while the U.S. market is having a little bit of recovery, a tiny fraction bit of recovery. But the Dixie is still overall on its way up. So I'm going to lean on the Dixie here and say that S&P 500 and all those, they're going to, S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Bitcoin, they're going to be negatively correlated to the Dixie. So my bet is on the Dixie. So potentially what could happen in Bitcoin is it might, if Dixie continues rising, Bitcoin and Nasdaq will start dropping again. So something to watch out for. I believe that's it for the analysis. So join me in the next video on Bitcoin, the daily analysis. Check out my weekly analysis on Sunday if you haven't seen that. It was pretty good, pretty right on from the prior week's analysis. So pretty cool. I appreciate your time. Please help spread my analysis to others, especially people who are new or not so new, or just people who want to understand things in simple ways instead of jargons and stuff. So smash the like, ring my bell, hit subscribe if you haven't, and share your thoughts in the comments section. I would appreciate it. Peace.